Hello everyone! Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Noelle and on camera I've got Ferg. Hello Ferg, morning. Alright, so sorry for the late start this morning. We had gremlins here and gremlins there and it happens. Don't forget we are live, we are interactive. Hashtag Safari Live on the Twitter or follow us on the YouTube chat. So anything that happens to us you pretty much see. It's very cool. Or sometimes it's frustrating when we have to start a little bit later. So again, our apologies. Okay, we've got a beautiful rank of impala. That's the collective noun for impalas, is a rank of impala. These males in front of me here have been chasing each other for the past sort of 10 minutes, willy-nilly. Hello, boys. But what I'm and there runs a Nyala. Nope, you're not an impala. Don't be daft. What I'm really keen for is some elephants. Apparently some of you saw elephants on the dam cam maybe about an hour and a bit ago, so we're gonna follow up on those elephants. And look how beautiful this light is, and look at all the babies. I love impala. Well, I'm a girl, so I like anything that's little and cute, and I can make little cute noises about. Now, impalas are beautiful, impala lambs are cute, but can you hear the sounds the mums are making? Not attractive ladies. Oh, this one's nursing. Well done, Ferg. Thanks, dude. So notice how when the little one's nursing, it sometimes smacks its head up into the udder. That's to help stimulate the production of the milk so that mom doesn't wander around leaking milk everywhere. Oh no, and this one has a broken leg. Shame. There's a little one there. Unfortunately, it does happen, and unfortunately, look, sometimes it can sort of sort itself out, and sometimes it can't, but that then means that things like a jackal and leopard and serval and caracal and all sorts of other predators get some food, so it is something that we do have to deal with. So with all of these impala getting as big as they're getting, I just want to come around the corner a wee bit. You're going to start seeing the mums forming a creche, a little nursery, and they basically leave the little ones in a group and then females take turn watching them. And that's to allow the mums to go and be able to feed. So they don't leave them too far, but it's the bush daycare. This is sort of everybody going to school. This actually reminds me, I've got a lot of friends with small kids, and this reminds me of drop-off at daycare with all the mums talking and all the kids talking and everyone sort of running around like crazy. Everybody's looking very healthy. Jeremiah, you're saying don't let the leopard see them. Unfortunately, Jeremiah, if the leopard didn't see them, then the leopard wouldn't be able to eat. So not all of them will be eaten, but some of them will have to be eaten. We have to keep a nice balance going. Can we still hear their noises? Alright guys, for now, it's going to just be me for the first little bit of drive. Scotty D was planning on doing a walk, but the gremlins have hit his walking backpack, so hopefully that will be sorted out shortly. So stick with me, tell me stories, ask me questions. Oh, and before I forget, we have our television program that is going to be airing in the States on the 14th of December at 10 p.m. Eastern. And that will be live, of course. And when we do that show, we're going to have little short advertisement breaks. And today, and for the next few days, actually, we're going to be practicing those advertisement breaks. So Lou from FC is going to tell me in my ear, okay, practicing break. And then I'm going to go through what would be my break scenario. So just stick with me through that. And apologies if I don't perform adequately, but the whole point of practice is to make perfect. Well, actually, perfect practice makes perfect, so we have to try and get as perfect as possible, so that when we have our live show, everything runs as smoothly as it possibly can. Okay, enough with advertisement breaks, and let's head on to looking for... it's monkeys. To looking for those elephants. Sorry, the other thing is Ferg was telling me around 2 o'clock. Excuse me, I had too much coffee this morning. Ferg was telling me around 2 o'clock that he heard a leopard sign, and then some of you that were watching the dam cam also heard this leopard sign. So hopefully we pick up tracks of that leopard as well. And then Herbie, our lovely Herbie, who's going to be with the bushwalk guys when their gremlins finally leave them, has asked me if I wouldn't mind checking on the western boundary again this morning for possibly the Nkuhumas coming over. So remember yesterday morning we had that brilliant sighting of the Birmingham males, all 4 of them. I was so chuffed. Then Herbie was saying he thinks that the Nkuhumas, as far as he knows, have gone over to the western side, so over sort of Aratuza side, and that they've been there for a couple of days and they might possibly come back. Sorry. So there's just a little, I actually think it's a termite mound, but my eye caught it because I'm now thinking about a leopard the whole time. But that heron is looking absolutely gorgeous. Look at that light. Beautiful gray heron and beautiful light. A nice reflection of the tree there. So this heron is here often. This is one of his favorite hunting grounds. And you'll see him either perched in trees around or on the ground like you're seeing now. And then sometimes he's in the water actually trying to spear little fishies or frogs, whatever would be in there. I actually once saw a heron catch a tiny little baby terrapin, and it was so proud of itself, but then the terrapin shell was a little bit hard for its beak, and then it was also too big to swallow down. There's also, Ferg, I don't know if you see around these sandpipers, there's some what looks like dragonflies flying around. Yeah, just to the left there. To the left a little bit more, and then in, perfect, right through in there. If we zoom in right there. Excellent. So that looks like a common sandpaper, quite a broad white stripe over the eye, and then on the shoulder, the white comes up over the shoulder. Pecking through, picking up little insects. Now, dragonflies are not my best, but I am learning slowly but surely with the dragonflies. It's on my list of things to learn. So this sandpiper here is going to go roundabout in the coolness of the day and is going to be busy trying to find its next meal. So we are going to sit here with this sandpiper trying to get these beautiful views. Stay with us. The small advert break's coming. Don't go away. All right, we're in ad break. We're still live on the internet. Don't worry. And remember, guys, this is a practice. We're still live on the internet. You can still watch all of the action. How amazing was that sandpiper picking through the little bits of mud there? All those beautiful little dragonflies flying around. Absolutely fantastic. So when we're doing these break things and these practices, one of the things I have to do is stare into the camera with my smile. And you guys know me well enough that my smile comes when it's genuine, but then when I have to sit there and force it, I kind of feel like a Stepford wife. And I don't I don't look very beautiful. So sorry about that. We can make little memes and jokes about it later. I'm not hearing these ellies, but an hour is a long time in the bush. Oh, the wild jasmine's coming out, Ferg. I think that's wild jasmine. Hold on, let me look with my binos before I forget. Yeah, wild jasmine, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it smells just like jasmine as well. I can't send the smells through the camera, but it is nice. So Lou is saying that the bushwalk backpack is up and running. Now, Lou, I have a question for you. Am I pretending like I'm coming back from advert, or is bushwalk pretending? Okay, thanks so much. Sorry about that, Lou. Sorry, guys. I just need a little bit of housekeeping there. It's my first time doing advert breaks, so there we go. All right, let's head on over to Scotty D, who wants to say good morning on this very humid morning in the Bushveld.
Good morning, everyone. and happy to hear that Noelle is getting along well with her ad break training and preparation. It's always a little bit awkward doing these pretend ad breaks, so well done to her for getting her first one under the belt. My name is Scott, for those of you who have never met me, and I have the joy of being followed by James Hendry on camera this morning. So if you notice any very impressive camera work, something like you've just seen now, you know why. He's behind the camera, and of course we have got Herbie, our specialist tracker, who's out with us, and looking forward to spending some time with Herbie and getting to know him. I don't know him as well as the rest of the crew do, but what I do know is that he's a serious wizard when it comes to spending time on foot. So we're hugely lucky to be out exploring with him this morning and looking forward to learning a lot of his tricks of the trade. Now, this morning we're not too sure what to do exactly. We haven't heard any audio. We haven't found any tracks yet. So we are planning on heading east. Herbie's got a feeling that there's something worth looking for over there. I know Tundi has been moving through that general area, so maybe if we're lucky we'll find some tracks of her and get a better idea of where she's currently denning her little cubs. We'll have to be very cautious when we are following her tracks, because of course the female leopard with cubs is going to be very protective of them. So it's something that you have to do very delicately and move with caution and very slowly. And that's also the reason why we're moving quite slowly here. We're about to cross through quite a thick area through a riverbed below the Gallagher Dam, and before you head through a thick area it's often useful just to stop, listen, make sure there's no big nasty animals there like elephant or buffalo. Speaking of which, it sounds like there's not too many buffalo please land here. I'm going to put James under some serious pressure possibly, but no, he's in luck. Well, no, he's going for it. There was a purple roller that just landed in that tree over there. And well done, James. There we go. Now, of course, free-handing a shot from this distance is not easy. But that is the beautiful bird I was hoping was going to land on a tree a little bit closer by. And have you just punched zoom there, James? You're going for it.
I punched it.
And well done. You can see that big bright eyebrow mark. I don't know how often you guys see them out here. I mean, I remember my time back here. You don't see them hugely often, the purple roller. I've also noticed that their cousins, the European rollers, have also arrived in town. They've had a long journey all the way from Mediterranean Europe. Very good. Well, we are going to continue on with the bushwalk, and you guys are going to be heading off on a short commercial break.
We're going back to TV now.
Oh, whoops. Welcome back to TV. I hope you enjoyed the pizza specials that you've just been shown. And I just misheard Louise in the final control there. I thought we were going into an ad break, not coming out of it, so thankfully this is why we're practicing them. Okay, let's continue on. It's a beautiful morning. It's already getting a little bit hot and sticky, even though the sun's just peeked up over the horizon. But good conditions for a bushwalk. Very good. Well, we're going to make our way through this thicker area, which is going to require a little bit of concentration. And while we do that, we will be sending you back to Noelle.
All right, so Scott's heading more east. So I'm hoping he picks up on the elephants we were looking for, because where I drove, which was west and a little bit north, I'm not finding any tracks at all. So I think my plan for this morning, and you all know me well enough by now, my plans change consistently on like a 30-second basis, sometimes smaller, sometimes longer. I think my plan for now is we're just going to bumble. We're going to bumble around and see what we can find. Sometimes it's really easy. If I'm having coffee in the morning and I hear lions, I know exactly where I'm going. If I hear leopard, or if I hear elephants, or we know that something was on a kill from the night before. Mornings are easy that way. But a lot of times, if you don't have any sort of what is it called when you've got the beginning of the book, that first chapter that sometimes tells you, what is it? Prelude. Yeah, kind of like a prelude to thanks, Ferg. Prelude to your morning. You don't really know where you're going to go and what you're going to do, so then your gut instinct kicks in. So then Herbie's gut today is saying that I need to check the west. So we're going to check the west, and then when we're done with the west, I'm kind of feeling like going south and east. But again, it could change. I was just saying to Ferg now, I really want to see a cheetah. I haven't seen a cheetah in months. So the property I was working on before I started working here, we had some cheetah males. Sorry for my sniffles. We had some cheetah males that would pop in from the Timbavat every now and then, and we had one female who sort of came in. She used to be around that property often, and then she settled in. And then we noticed that she was pregnant, and then lo and behold, she had a litter of cubs. So right before she had the cubs, we weren't really seeing her very often. And then obviously when we found the cubs, then that whole area shut down until she's ready to move them out. So I haven't seen, and then I was in South Luanga, and then I was in Mozambique in the bush there, where there's definitely cheetah, but we just found some tracks. We didn't find any actual sightings of them. So it's been months. I think the last time I saw cheetah was possibly in July. That's 5 months. That's way too long. I really want to see a cheetah. And then one of the main reasons why I want to see cheetah, other than the fact that they're fun and I like to show them to you, is we've been slowly but surely talking about ID kits and how do we ID lion and how do we ID leopard and how do we ID wild dog. Now for cheetah, what's super interesting is you actually use the rings on the tail as the ID kit. So I did research many years ago on cheetah and on properties where cheetah were not relaxed and did not like us and did not like the vehicles. So whatever photos you get are the photos you get. And the researcher that I was working with, the head researcher, was saying that the best way to ID them is using the rings on the tail. They're all individual and extremely specific. Then with something like spotted hyena, you use, just similar to the wild dog, you use the whole body, the whole spot pattern, and the tail. Although that being said, I have a friend who says she uses the tail more often, but she definitely needs the whole body. Look, if something has a defining characteristic, like it's missing an eye or an ear, that's always helpful, but it's not the end-all, be-all of anything. And then with lion and leopard, we use the spot pattern over the whisker line like we've talked about. I did promise I would bring a pad of paper and a pen, which I think I have managed to squirrel away in my bag, but we'll check. While it's still cool like this, I don't want to stop too much until we pick up tracks, because it means that things will be moving really nicely at this time of the day, whether that be elephant or buffalo or any sort of cat species. So I want to see what sort of areas we can cover to sort of pick up any good sightings that we might be able to get. Ooh, Virginia, you're asking if we can check the hyena den? We can do, for sure, Virginia. The last couple times I was there, I didn't see any evidence of any activity. Oh, fabulous. And I think James as well, but I think that's a good idea, Virginia. Sorry. I've done this tree a couple of times with you guys, but we haven't done it with the flowers yet. This is a weeping wattle, an African wattle, a Peltiforum africanum. So sorry for my sniffles this morning, everybody. And it's in beautiful blooms. This is the one that I was telling you about the other day, where if you don't have a driver's license and you need to drive a car and you don't want to get pulled over by the police, you take a branch of this and you stick it, so you hide it somewhere in your car and it brings you good luck. It's this one. Some people say it's the toilet paper tree because the leaves are very soft and you can use them to wipe your bum. And then what else? Ooh, you can take the bark or the roots and boil it. It makes a really beautiful dye, sort of a brownish tinged with red dye for something like baskets or mats. And then my actual favorite story comes from a tracker I used to work with in Northwest Province. So in this area, we work with Shangaan guys. And in that area, it was Tswana. And he was saying that in Tswana culture, if you have someone very close to you that passes away, you take a branch of this tree and you bring it to the Angama, the traditional healer, and he makes a drink out of it, and that drink will help you wash away your grief. So that's our short little biology, or I shouldn't say treology. What's treology? If you're someone that studies trees, what is that word? That would be interesting to know. I've made up a word for some reason. Oh my goodness, we are on a roll. Not only am I making up words, but I'm stalling out on Rusty. Good work, Noelle. It's one of those days, everybody. A botanist. Yeah, there we go, Lou. A botanist, flowers and trees. But I'm wondering if there's a specific term for everything. So like an ornithologist just studies birds, and then an entomologist just does insects. But I have a friend who studies dung beetles, and he's got a specific term for himself that's escaping my mind now. I'd be interested to know. Anyway, so yes, let's check the hyena den and see what's potting and see if we get anything there. Sorry, Lou, send through the question one more time from Laura. Very cool. Laura, you're curious to know if the leaves of that peltiform fold close at night. No, they don't. That leaf structure is a very similar leaf structure to an acacia tree. It's called bipinnately compound. I'm now looking for another one so I can show you. And no, they stay open like that. Most of our leaves stay open. I have a feeling, Laura, and look, I used to talk about trees constantly on Game Drive, and then I started doing birds, and then I've sort of swapped over. So some of my tree knowledge is in my file 13, but it's got cobwebs and it's very dusty at the back. So as far as I remember, when the leaves close up, it has to do with climates that are very harsh climates. So climates, for instance, like arid climates along the Namibia coast sort of area where it's very dry, the leaves will sort of close up when it's too hot and then open up when it cools down, and that allows them to retain moisture. And I believe, sorry, I'm skipping from things, and that looks like a European roller. Ferg, why are you flying away? Of course they are. I know Tristan saw one the other day. I could just be losing it just a little bit. Aha! Catherine, well done. Thank you, my friend. A dendrologist. Catherine says someone that studies trees is a dendrologist. Thank you so much. Ferg, this bird does not want to be seen. Yeah, we'll try one more time. So anyway, so back to the folding leaf stories. There's also sort of twisting types of leaves that help collect water and bring things down. While we're busy trying to see if we can get this, what I think is a European roller, but I could be losing my mind today very slowly, see if it wants to be seen, let's head over to Scott and see what he has found on his own 2 feet. Ah.
Hello everyone. We just stopped there. It's so exciting being on bushwalk. Herbie up ahead heard something and put his hand up like that. So we stopped immediately, and that's what I was focused on when you joined us. But it was just a francolin sitting in a tree, so it fluttered off, and all was safe and sound. It's incredible how often the small animals can give you quite a big fright when you are on bushwalk. The wing flaps of some francolins taking off, or a scrub hare darting out of the thickets. It's always the small animals that often give you a bigger fright than the large ones. But it's actually really useful that we have them around, because it keeps us on our toes, it keeps us alert and thinking, and always good to have reminders that there is potentially dangerous animals out here. We are also moving through the general area. Sorry, James, I forgot to warn you about the overhanging branches there. James has got a long antenna pole sticking out the back of a backpack with all the equipment that manages to piece the pieces of this puzzle together. That wasn't very pretty. And get the picture to you. So like I said, we are moving through the general area where Tundi last had her cubs. Tundi is a female leopard, and no problem. And we're just going to be moving very slowly through this area, stopping and listening as often as we see fit. Herbie's up ahead, and it's really important because I have one of my ears blocked, and the fact that my hearing in general is not the best. It's very useful to have some extra ears up ahead, focused on making sure we don't chase any animals away or get ourselves into any trouble. Now, when we move through thick bush like this, even though we don't know if there's anything here, it's always useful to be ready in anticipation for something to arrive. So this little ash bag is showing you, probably not very well because there's not a whole bunch of ash coming out, but stale. There we go. But you can see there's not a huge amount of wind, but it's slowly blowing in this direction. So if any animals are off to our right, we know that there's going to be little chance of them smelling us. But if they're off to our left, then they could well have detected us before we detect them. And as you can see now, it's fairly thick here. Beautiful. Let's go around here. Watch out, James, we've got some obstacles here. Hello to Cheetah. Good to have you with us. You'd like to know, how is it that all of the guides have managed to learn so many interesting things about being out in the African wilderness? And I guess just like you'll be a professional in whatever industry you are in, that would surprise us. We've acquired different yet, I guess, similar skills along the way for our profession. And what you'll find is each guide will have different kind of focuses and things that they really like to look at. And then what that means is that you get a whole bunch of guides with certain interests, sharing their knowledge and skills and forcing one another to kind of keep learning, sharing skills. So there's a lot of information sharing in this industry, which helps us hugely, getting information passed down from older, more experienced guides. Guys like Herbie, who've spent many years out on foot in the bush, all help us piece together the puzzle. So it's a combination of things. To be honest, Cheetah, I've got a lot of homework to be doing. I've been out of this area for over a year and a half now, which means I've got a bit of polishing up to do regarding all my files of facts and information, some of which have become a little bit dusty. Oh, another example of my dustiness is the fact that I just stepped into a buffalo thorn, which is something you want to try and avoid at all costs. I tried to break you off a branch to show you the thorns, but it looks like other animals have already broken the thorns off this buffalo thorn because it's dead, so I got lucky. You can see a small little hook over there. This will be much sharper once the tree is fresh or hasn't been walked through by other animals, thus breaking off the thorns. And there's often also a straight thorn, so it's double thorned from one position on the twig. Very good. We are going to continue with a little bit more caution, trying to avoid the Sisyphus, and we're going to be sending you all the way up to the Masai Mara with Jamie.
What a buffalo to walk around it. A very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the Mara portion of the Sunrise Safari. Making our way. I do apologize if you get the odd intermittent. Now don't forget, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is how you get hold of us. I'm sure you have loads of questions. Taylor will, and of course what hopefully if we're still it'll be better. Off we go back to South Africa to Noelle, who has already beaten me to it and has found her lions for the morning.
Yep, not lions, but we have elephants, and there's a cheeky little one just here. He came around this bush just now, and then when I said to Ferg, look, he sort of stopped and now is pretending that we have nothing to do with anything. We've got a beautiful female that's walking around behind us. We've got a nice, beautiful breeding herd here, a very large breeding herd. What I'd actually like to do is I just want to pull forward a little bit because some of them are underneath this wonderful marula tree. And the light on that side's a little bit better. And there's a big, beautiful female that's coming out here. she's heavy pregnant. You see that? You see how far it sticks out on the side? So remember, elephants are pregnant for 22 months, and then they'll nurse for about 24 months, sometimes up to 3 years. So elephants always look a little bit fat because of the way they digest food, but for her to be protruding like that, she is heavy pregnant. She's also an older female. You can see around her hips and the bottom of her skin there sags quite a bit, just like humans. Your elasticity in your skin depletes as you get older because gravity is not kind to anyone that has been walking this earth for a while. Oh, I love elephants. Just sitting here. I don't know, I'm going to stop talking just for a second, and I want to see if you all can hear what I can hear, especially off to our sort of eastern side. Can we hear them munching away? Maybe a little bit. All right. Just want to again angle just a little bit, just for better. Ooh, sorry. Rusty and I are in a fight today. I don't know what's going on with me. Could be me, could be Rusty. Just want to angle for a better view. Here we go. Absolutely great. So these elephants are moving quite quickly for this scenario, and part of that has to do with the heat that's already popped up and the humidity. We're not far from the dam, but we're just far enough where, by the way, I want to prerequisite with the fact that this is not the same herd we were looking for before. This is just a herd we happened upon. But because the heat is already up quite a lot, they're going to move down to the water quickly. So they're feeding but moving quite quickly as they feed. Alright guys, we're going to be practicing ad breaks again. So you're going to hear me go through my little scenario shortly, but remember, we're not actually doing ad breaks, we're just practicing for our show. That's going to be live on the 14th of December in the States, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We still have this little female that's over here, Ferg. I don't know if you're able to get around to there. There we are. So of course they were beautiful in the road and then decided to meander into the thick bush. So stay with us now. We don't know what's going to happen with these elephants. We're going to go to a short advert break. Don't go anywhere. Alright, we're back, still live, streaming on the internet, on the YouTube. Don't forget #SafariLive on the Twitter as well. Okay, thank you for going through that ad break with me, and thank you for going through my very awkward smile, because we have to keep staring. Elephants. Alright, so the reason why we came down this road and we got these beautiful ellies was because we had a request to go check the hyena den. So the hyena den is just here. So we'll check it and then we'll keep following those ellies. As I said, they're going to go down and drink, possibly at the dam. So just sorry for the back of my head. Please excuse me. I'm just looking around as we come through, checking for any activity. And while I am busy searching, Scotty D has an elephant. Let's go to him.
We certainly do have an elephant, possibly more. We were initially I can't think of the word. We were initially alerted to their presence by a very low rumbling sound. And to be honest, my terrible hearing, I couldn't really distinguish between a vehicle engine running and whether it was actually elephants. So thankfully Herbie was here to assist us. Now I am a little bit worried about the wind because it's such a still morning. The wind can swirl very gently in the direction of the elephants, but if we stop here, I think one is going to pop out just in that little gap there. Unless, of course, it's changed direction. There are more than one of them. So that means it is a breeding herd. which means we have to be extra cautious because female elephants with their youngsters will be very, very protective of them. And in this thick vegetation, we can't be certain how spread out they actually are. Let's keep creeping forward though. Herbie's happy with the situation up ahead of us. Here we go, here we're going to get some views. We're going to get some great views of them. James has spotted one coming towards us that looks like a youngster. There are more spread out to the left of them. And I think we're going to be lucky. It appears like they're moving from north to south. The sun is rising up to the east ahead of us. And as you can see, I'm going to continue to check the wind. It looks like it's slowly blowing in their direction. But like I say, because it's so still, it could be swirling a little bit. Earlier on it was blowing a little bit more behind us. Here comes another one popping into view, another two actually. A couple of youngsters moving through there. So this is absolutely awesome. And quite fortunate that we did hear that low rumbling. Otherwise we could have got ourselves into a little bit of a sticky situation moving through this thick bush. They move so silently for such large animals. Now, what I think we can do is keep moving down parallel with them. Now that we've established their direction of movement, there goes another big female. Now that we've established their direction of movement, I think we can quite safely try and spy on them while they go about their morning forage. Okay. Let's keep moving through here. How awesome is this? So lucky to be on foot with these African giants, and your senses become very, very alert as and when you get into these scenarios. I mean, you always need to be alert, of course, because you never know what you're going to bump into. But once you do actually find something, you find that all of your senses become heightened. Each footstep that you take with a little bit more caution and precision to make sure you don't snap any branches. Now, because the wind is very gently wafting kind of in their direction, we just need to take it super slowly, just to make sure we don't let them catch wind of us. We do not want them to know that we're here. The ideal walk will be one that is done when they have no idea that we're actually here. And it looks like you've got a good gap of one there. Well done, James. And as you can see, completely oblivious to our presence. If they knew we were here, they'd be holding their heads up high. Very good. We're going to stay with them, and we're going to shoot you guys off for a short break, and hopefully we'll still be with this herd when you join us. I've got it wrong again. We're not going to an ad break. Sorry, Louise. I need to work on my listening skills. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those ad breaks. Now, we've got a bit of a hurdle here that we need to negotiate. It's easier for me to move around than it is for poor old James. He's got that big backpack on. We're just going to go very, very slowly. We will be able to keep up with them at the rate that they're moving. So, I guess the number one thing when being on foot is to try and always contain your excitement and move slowly. The slower you move, the slower you get yourself into trouble, which is my general rule. Whereas if we move too quickly and the elephants change directions, for example, then we could find things a little bit complicated. Very good. Well, we are going to do our best to get into another good position. Hopefully we might find something elevated like a termite mound where we can sneak up and get a bit of a vantage point to view them. And while we do that, we are going to be sending you all the way back up to the Mara with Jamie.
Well, speaking of termite mounds, how many lions can you fit on one termite mound? because at the moment the answer seems to be around about 17, provided all of the Angamas are there. I mean, it's just one great big puddle of lions. It's quite extraordinary. So we've been lucky this morning already, and we have found the pride of lions in an off-roading area, which is the nice thing, because the Angamas, of course, have a territory in places we can off-road, and then, of course, in the place that we can't off-road. So a lot of the time recently they've been on the opposite side of the road, and we haven't been able to follow them. But now they're all grouped together exactly where Jahawi and I had them the other morning, on a termite mound close to the escarpment. I would love to tell you if all of them are there, but I dare you to try and do a head count. There are just lion heads everywhere. A little cub at the back that you can barely see. What's up, lionesses? What have you seen? They've seen something. Is it the Ellie they're watching? Might be. Oh, yes, there's the Ellie. Yes, that might be a little bit ambitious. Just a little bit. Of course, we've spent so much time with the Angamas. We've watched these cubs grow up since they were about 4 weeks old in the case of the younger set. Found them completely by mistake. So we know them very, very well. 4 lionesses, giving us a show of their teeth, and 13 cubs. I think all 13 are there. It's a bit tricky. Now, at the moment, the Angamas have to work particularly hard, as it's very, very quiet on this northern side of the triangle. And Craig and I were actually just talking about it as I ruined his beautiful morning shot that he was recording by sticking my thumb in it to Louise. What the cameramen have to put up with. But we were talking about how terrifying it must be to be a warthog at this point. With the grass as long as it is, I mean, you can smell lions, but you don't know where they are. Imagine having to walk through long grass. It must be... And then you don't know, if you do encounter, or if a warthog does encounter a lion, then it doesn't know if it's the only lion in the vicinity, or if there are more, or which direction to run in. It must be truly terrifying. One thing we've learnt from yesterday's experience with the Paradise Pride is that the warthogs don't necessarily pay much attention to their surroundings, or they don't see very well at all. Because yesterday an entire family of warthogs walked straight into the lions. 3 times. By the 3rd time they nearly stood on the lioness. How they all managed to escape, I do not know. So my plan was actually to go back towards the river crossings, but now we've got the Angamas, I think we might stay here. Let's see how the situation plays out if this elephant decides to come in this direction. They're all watching it intently. Looks like a young male. Or a youngish male. Oh, no, he's turning. No, he's coming back. One thing I've noticed, there's a big difference between the response of elephants here in the Mara and those in South Africa to lions. And I'm sure it has to do with the vegetation and the fact that the elephants can actually see here, whereas on Djuma they can't see all that well in the dense vegetation. So the lions take them by surprise. But it does seem to me as though the lions that we see, or that you will see, back on Djuma and back in the northern Sabi sand, seem to be far more dedicated to chasing lions. Out here, it's not uncommon to see elephants and lions relatively peaceful in the same sighting. Makes it a bit more difficult to predict exactly what's going to happen. Vicky, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting balance here. So Vicky's asking what would be a good meal for this particular pride. And something like a buffalo would be the best possibility because of the amount of food that it would provide. The difficulty here is that we've got a large number of lions, but most of them are under a year old. So they're all A, growing, and B, not able to contribute to the hunt. And essentially 4 lionesses have to keep the young cubs, 13 young cubs fed. So it's a tricky one for them because 4 lionesses, they can and they do hunt buffalo, but it's a tough call, and it's a dangerous hunt for them. Unless they manage to isolate a cow and a calf or something along those lines. So maybe perhaps a better choice would be a zebra, but a lot of their food at the moment will be warthogs. There are just so many warthogs knocking about. Okay, well, we sit and watch how the situation plays out with a puddle of lions and an elephant approaching. Let's head back across to South Africa, where Noelle has decided to pay a visit to our lovely spotted hyena friends.
Morning, Jamie. Sounds like you're having a wonderful sighting there. We are having a lazy sighting of a little lazy hyena cub. So as far as I can tell, this is the little female, the one that's left from the two. There was a male and a female, but I have not seen the male since I was talking about the fact that I think that she's picking on him a lot and performing a bit of siblicide, a little bit of canism. And I think that she's done what a lot of hyenas do, which is to kill their sibling, and that sibling's no longer around. But that's just my assumption from what I've seen over the past, I think, 10 days since we saw them together. From what I can remember, it was when Steve Falconbridge was here for his interview when he saw Hassan and Tingana, so whatever day that was. Now, I'm not seeing the older cub from the other litter. That's probably about 2 or 3 months older than this one. I have a feeling that that one is at an age where it's moving around a bit more with the rest of the clan and carrying on. This one's still a little bit too young to be doing that. It still needs its den. And if she is the only one left from her litter and the other one from the older litter is busy off with the clan, that would possibly be one of the reasons why we're not seeing her as much, because she's alone, so she has to take a little bit better care of herself. It also might be why she looks so sleepy and bored, because she's bored. She's just on her own. So, to me, she's still looking okay. To me, yeah, a little bit more lethargic than I would expect. But at the same point, she's survived this long. I think she's probably going into her 4th month now. And she wouldn't have been surviving like this without nutrition from the mum. So, yeah, I think positive. And we'll just have to keep checking and keep seeing what is potting. There's a little bit of... she's found something to chew on. It looks like toilet roll or a piece of a blanket. We often talk about how the hyenas come into our camp to the DRC and try and rip the bins apart, but they'll do that with anywhere. They'll do that with the gate. They'll do that with any sort of human smelling anything. So there's possibly just a bunch of little bits of this and that littered throughout because of those forays into the human world. So we do try and do a very good job of keeping our things away so that the hyenas don't grab it and run off with it. But you never know, they're super sneaky, these little hyenas. We were talking about how I used to do research earlier. I was once in one of the research camps, and we had to make sure to shut the doors, at least the bottom door. It's one of those double hinge doors, so the top and the bottom open separately if you want them to. And you always had to make sure you closed the bottom part of the door, because there was a female hyena who would come in, and she was super cheeky and super bold. And I woke up to go to the loo in the middle of the night, and I stepped out in the doorway, and I just felt odd. And I looked down, and my eyes started adjusting to the dark a little bit more, and probably about 6 meters from me, so 12 foot, is this huge female hyena. They weigh about 65 kilograms, so about 140 pounds. I mean, they're big. And she's staring at me, and I'm staring at her, and she obviously can see really well in the dark. I can barely see with that light. Someone had left the door open, and so she'd been scrounging around. And when I sort of snuck away and managed to get down to the loo and then turned all the lights on to get back out, there was just pots and pans littered everywhere. She had gnawed through part of the door in the kitchen and streamed. It was absolute carnage. It was insanity. I think we had one pot left that didn't have holes in it after that. And then once we were having a braai, so a braai is similar to a barbecue, and she came right up to the braai stand with about 4 people standing there trying to get around to the meat. So when they're usually not very scared of us, but when they're that used to us, they're definitely a huge nuisance. Now, by looking at this little female here, you're saying, oh my goodness, but they look so lazy. I think it's warm already. She's by herself. She does pick up her head and smell and look around. If Mum were to come back or the older cousin were to come back, she would get way more excited. She's just sort of probably keeping her thoughts to herself and enjoying her little den site. Brent, you're asking quite an interesting question, which is how deep and big, how deep and large are hyena dens? Brent, I've never actually gone down inside. There's a guy who does hyena research in the southeastern corner of Botswana in a place called Mashatu. And he has, I'm going to use the term befriended, but it's not that he thinks he's a hyena and the hyenas don't think that he's a hyena. They're just super used to him. So I'm using that with slight air bunnies around it. They tolerate him more so than they would tolerate any other human. It's just because he's spent a lot of time with them. So I have a feeling that he would be able to answer that question a lot better than I would because of the amount of time and the type of investigation that he's done. So these holes that they're using are holes that are dug by an aardvark. An aardvark, also known as an ant bear, comes out at night from areas like this and eats termites and ants. They have very strong claws and they dig these holes into these very hard termite mounds. And then things like spotted hyena come and use those holes for themselves. So sometimes these holes that the aardvarks dig go down into tunnels that pop up into other termite mounds, and sometimes it's just a little shallow depression that's maybe 1 meter to 2 meters, so 3 foot to 6 foot long and deep. And then inside, I would guesstimate that inside it's probably just big enough to fit the litter of 2 or 3 with possibly space for maybe 1 or 2 adults, so not that large. But I do know that with the hyenas, they do tend to extend the inside a little bit into these tiny little crevices where they go themselves. The adults can't fit, and practice their siblicide, their canism. Not always, but they are known to do so. So I know that's not a very precise answer for you, but it's the best one I have today. I do have a friend that always comments about how they want to check out the inside of these holes inside termite mounds, sort of we hold the feet and head first, but you never know what's in there. There could be leopard, there could be mamba, there could be hyena, there could be anything. So maybe we need a little snake camera that can go down in there and do that. All right, while we're busy having a look at our cute little hyena some more, we are going to head back to Bushwalk to see what Scotty D is up to.
Well, happy to hear you've all got lucky at the hyena den. We have decided to leave the herd of elephants that we were with, and we've stumbled upon this very interesting little moth. And what caught my attention is the fact that it's quite white, and it also looks very much like a bird's dropping. And isn't that an interesting decision for camouflage, to look like another animal's poop? And there's actually quite a few different kinds of moths, and James and I even seem to think there's a spider that also looks like bird poop. And tricky business filming these tiny little critters, but James is doing a great job. What's also wonderful about us just stopping and looking at the smaller insects and animals is that you often find that you can be overlooking so much. So it was this kind of bird poop moth that caught our attention, but once we had stopped and started investigating this area a little bit closer, we found another interesting insect. This is a stick insect. How cool is that? And it's a youngster. It's small. They get about 6 inches in length once they're fully grown. Let me do a little swivel there so you can see it in full action. And how cool is that? Obviously blending in incredibly well with this blade of dead grass that has decided, ooh, sorry, that's a cameraman's nightmare. But yeah, yes, like James says, he's not a cameraman, so he's not too fazed by the outcome of my poor workmanship. But some really interesting little critters moving about through the African wilderness, and they all have very important roles to play because they all fit in and do their little bit to make sure that everything works as it does out here. So it's something important to remember, and something that I am going to be looking forward to investigating and exploring with you all, the small, interesting little critters. Very good. Like I said, we decided to leave that herd of elephants. We were just having problems with the wind, and they actually ended up catching our attention. Not very much. They just kind of started lifting their trunks up and smelling in our direction. They weren't perturbed, which is wonderful. They just kind of smelt a bit of a rat, and the rat was us. So we decided, rather than trying to pursue them and letting them really understand who we are and what we were up to, we'd rather move out of that area, leave them in peace, and come and see what else we could find. And it didn't take us long to stumble across this interesting little bird poo moth and the stick insects. We are going to continue on now. It's getting nice and warm, and hoping that we're going to hopefully find some tracks of Tundi in this area. We've got Herbie up ahead of us, who's moving nice and slowly, and she could be anywhere in this general area. Herbie's got a feeling she's moved her den in this direction. For those of you who don't know Tundi, she is a female leopard who has quite recently given birth to some cubs. We're not sure how many, nobody's seen them. All that we have seen is that she has been heading into a termite mound where they are probably hiding. Very good. We're going to send you off on another short break, and we'll be waiting for you when you get back. Are they coming? Thanks, Louise. Geez, I'm doing a terrible job, everyone, with the ad breaks today. Is there something back there, James? James just pointed out to me that it looked like the elephants could still be there. I think he may have heard them, so it's best we get some distance between us and them so that we can continue, and they can as well. When I sent you off on the ad break, I figured I thought you were gone for good. So clearly I've got a little bit rusty after my 2-week break. Very good. We are going to be sending you back to Jamie and her lion as we continue to patrol the wilderness.
So our lions are up and about and on a mission. So our lionesses, as always, the first ones to stir, and the rest of the pride will reluctantly follow. In some cases, the little ones tend to be slightly more attached to wherever they're sitting at this time of morning, like all teenagers. Gathered round a shepherd's tree. I didn't expect them to go that way. Having a jolly good rub and a scratch up against it. It's a perfect scratching post. There might even be a nice smell there. Maybe a leopard came through and scent marked on that tree. There could be all sorts of exciting things there for them to be smelling. There comes the fourth lioness. And they are off. I think they, judging by the look of them, they are pretty hungry. And I suspect that they now are going to follow a very similar pattern to the one that we saw 2 days ago, which is where they moved into the non-off-roading area on the other side of the road, waiting for a warthog to move move close to them. Although they didn't succeed the other morning, who knows what is going to transpire over the course of this one. Another big stretch, big stretch. Leading up. Is she going to go up the tree? She might. Here come the cubs. She might go up the tree. Of all of the lions in the Mara, I mean, I was promised lions up tree everywhere I drove. I imagined that they'd be dropping out of trees. But of the lions I've seen up trees in the Mara, the vast majority of those sightings have been the Angamas. Perhaps the cubs will climb. Should we get a little bit closer quickly? Let us get a little bit closer before our imaginary TV audience rejoins us. Shouldn't be. We'll find out. Oh! Line up a tree! Sorry about the black screen, everyone. There we go. Cover up a tree. What a beautiful image. Now another cover up a tree. Big stretches. This is the perfect climbing tree. The shape is just so appropriate. There we go. Here comes the younger cub following in the footsteps of the elder one. Oh, here comes number 3. Possibly about to pull number 2 out of the tree. Oh, number 4. Welcome back on your amazing journey through the wildernesses of South Africa and Kenya, where we have the most amazing scene unfolding right in front of us. And of course, all of this is happening completely 100% live. A few moments ago, these lions were flat and resting on a termite mound, but now it's time for their morning exercise. And that involves climbing their way up a shepherd's tree. We've got one cub has found the sort of prime position right at the top, and the other 2 have sort of had to, oh dear. Please forgive the car in the shot. For those of you that don't know, the Mara is a tourist area, so obviously there are other safari vehicles that do move around in this particular spot. The tourists come and enjoy these amazing moments with us. Right, back to cub in tree, just because I want to see how the descent plays out. Cheetah, yes, these lions are absolutely going hunting. They're hungry. They're very hungry, actually, for some of the lionesses. The cubs are slightly better fed, but the lionesses are very, very hungry. So yes, the mission is to go hunting, but like all youngsters, sometimes priorities are different. And you can see there's a topi in the background. That might be what they're aiming for. They're certainly looking across in that direction, and very shortly, once the cub tree climbing situation has resolved itself, I'm going to move around and try and get ahead of the lionesses and see which direction they're heading. But yes, they are absolutely hunting. And the one thing that we know about lions out here is that they do, lost a cub down a tree, is that they do actually hunt a great deal during the day. Come on, catch up, you two. Come on. One's already down. Now what? What to do when you want to get down but your friend's in the way? Eric, I suppose it depends upon the size of the animal, but Eric wants to know how many animals they would have to kill to make the pride full. A zebra would feed the entire pride and give them some pretty full bellies, as long as a male didn't come through. So an adult zebra would probably be the ideal kill. Something like a buffalo could keep them full for 2 days. Although, of course, as the cubs get bigger and bigger, that equation becomes more and more tricky for the lionesses to balance. Because, of course, the cubs are eating more and more and needing more and more in order to grow. Oh, that is so beautiful. Look at that. Lion watching topi, lion climbing tree. What would you like to look at? There's too many different things. I don't think we need to move just yet, though, because I think the lionesses are going to plan out their hunt first. So they're going to spend some time lying down in the grass. Mischief. Mischief! Okay, this cub is just about to come down this tree. There's a chance that they might actually knock each other out of the tree. Okay, well, we're going to sit with the Angamas and patiently. Okay, cool. All right, let's just see. Sorry, Lou. Let's just see how the situation plays out. sliding down the tree. This could actually be quite a painful descent. Oh, here comes another vehicle. Don't go down now, cub. Sorry, Craig. Here we go. Oh, here comes another vehicle. Oh, a little bit tentative. You're in my way. Move. I'll bite you. Fine, I'm gonna bite you anyway. Come on. Okay, please move. Please move. I'm stuck now. I don't know, Chitty Chatty Meg. How many lions can you fit on a termite mound? These are the burning questions. One thing I can tell you is that the book that we read not so long ago in James's studio has turned out to be quite prophetic. Although I doubt Mum's going to come to the rescue here. This one's going to have to figure it all out itself. It really wants to go down. But it's a bit tricky. It's very slippery bark. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, courage, courage. That's it, that's it, that's it. Beautifully done. Oh, ad car. Okay, we're going to go. Oh, we're still playing in the tree. Why did you climb all the way down then? Ah, I see. So you've got a better chance of harassing your sibling. That's why. Okay, we're going to get a little bit closer, see what the lionesses are looking at, and at the same time have a look at those two cubs from a bit of a oopsie, different angle. Now, I know that Lou mentioned Noelle had found a very pretty species of a pigeon. So I think what we'll do is we'll send you across to her so you can watch them build their nests.
Sorry about that, everyone. My little earpiece popped out. I hope you all saw that green pigeon flying off. We found the most amazing thing. This green pigeon and its mate are busy building a nest. So you can just see the little platform nest it's building. You can see the bum end of the other one that's sitting there that moves slightly with these little twigs and sticks. And the other one is flying off and collecting a twig and then coming back. And then they're rearranging it to lay their eggs in. Now, I, of course, know that they lay nests, but I've actually never seen nesting green pigeons before. And green pigeons have to be one of my favorite birds. They're just absolutely beautiful. You also don't get to see them sort of sitting still like we're seeing now very often. They tend to be in the thick canopies of fruiting trees. So we're going to just stick here for a little while because that other one's going to come back again. And you can see the gorgeous colors. The whole body, the green around the wings and main body structure, and then the yellow and red of the feet, and then up into the yellow, red, and the beak. All of that is to blend in specifically for those fruiting trees. So the green part of the body is to blend into the leaves, and then for me, the yellow and the red along the feet, which hopefully we'll see now when the mate comes back, is to sort of blend in with any fruit that might be on those branches. Now, it's interesting, they are quite a large bird. Pigeons and doves are large. They're not very aerodynamically correct. They have to touch their wingtips on the... Oh, there he comes. Oh, fantastic. Very cool. There it goes down. They have to touch wingtip to wingtip, top to bottom, and do it hard enough and fast enough to get their little bodies off the ground or off the tree. That's why you hear that thwap, 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 thwap. Now look at the red feet with the little bit of yellow feathering above it, and also the beak, the yellow at the top, or sorry, the end, and then the red. All of that blending in so nicely. I'm really, really, really chuffed we're getting this sighting. And then there it brought a little twig, hands it to the mate. The mate sort of stuck it in where it wants to go, and then off it flies again. Very, very, very cool. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I was going through some of my photos yesterday when You guys are with other presenters. If we have a nice photo opportunity, I try and take some images, and there's been some nice birding images lately, and I'm hoping now as well with those green pigeons, because they're a tough one to take. Alright, so our plan now, the Nkuhumas are on Biffleshoek, so we won't be able to see them, and it sounds as if some of the males are up there as well, the Birmingham males, and it seems as if the rest of the Birmingham males might possibly be over at Ratusa's side. So that herd of Ellies we had before when we were just coming up to the Hyena den, we're going to go see if maybe they're making their way for a drink. We're going to check Galagopan as well as go back to Vuyatela Dam and see what's potting that side. It is now probably about 8 degrees warmer than it was when we started this morning. Lou, do you know what the temperature is? Double check for you. So Lou says it's 23 degrees Celsius, about 74 Fahrenheit, which means it's actually not that much more from when we started. I don't know if I believe that thermometer, Lou. It feels much more warm than that, but oh, you never know. Lou also doesn't believe it. It's interesting, we were chatting yesterday about possibly having rain, and there was some definite buildup with some clouds, but we didn't get any, someone else got it. But our weather services here in this beautiful country that we live are not the most accurate, so it's sort of, alright, there we go. Yeah, I would say it's probably more like 26 as opposed to 23, but that's just me. Yes, it really is a nice morning. Not as blue sky as we had yesterday. There is some cloud that's already popping up, which is lending to a little bit of humidity. So maybe we get rain tonight or tomorrow, but again, I think our rain patterns are very spotty, so we can see the rain collecting, but it doesn't always drop on us. It also drops sort of just to our north, or just to our south, or just here, or just there. Sorry, just a few tracks. Alright, Scotty D. Ooh, Noel. Well, I'm busy checking out these tracks. Let's go to Scotty D quickly and see what he has to show you, and then we'll come back to me. Sorry, Lou? Oh, sorry, you guys are staying with me. So I just need to unplug quickly, and I just want to go look. I think I ran them over. The reason why I'm keen on what we're looking at, I'm pretty sure there was a leopard that walked somewhere here. There was. Ferg, can you see this, or is this track too... Can you maybe see this one back here? Just let me know if that's coming up on the monitor. Kind of. So guys, basically what I'm looking at is what looks like a male leopard track. Again, with those 3 lobes at the back and the 4 toes like this. That's more lion size, but that's pretty much what I'm looking at. And this male leopard has walked this way, coming up. I would assume it's the leopard that we heard at the dam and that Ferg heard. So I'm going to turn our car around and see if we can track. We're on the main access road at the moment, so there's already some vehicles that have gone to the gate to do their morning routines. So I'll do the best that I can with these tracks. Oh, sorry guys, Rusty and I are definitely in a fight today. I don't know what's going on. Rusty had its clutch replaced recently, so it is a very new clutch, very sensitive. And Wendy, who I usually drive, does not have a sensitive clutch. Ferg, can you see these better? Alright, while Rusty and I are sorting out our differences and we're tracking this leopard, let's head over to Taylor, who wants to say good morning. These are nice.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everything is going well today. No one ever asks you how you're doing, do they? My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Manu. And, well, we've been driving around for quite some time now, trying to get into the area that we had those lions last night, the big sausage tree pride. So we've actually just arrived where we left them. We had them a little bit further in that distance, and they're on the other side of the lugger. But we haven't seen them just yet, but I think we've got a bit of driving to do ahead of us to scan through this long grass. For those of you that didn't watch the sunset safari yesterday, we had the Sausage Tree Pride trying to take down some giraffe, but unfortunately one lioness is left to do all the work, which was a bit on the difficult side. But anyways, the giraffe got away, so good for them. I'm not sure if the lions went after them again, because they did put quite a bit of distance between them. But for those of you that have just joined us, of course, a big welcome. And remember, this is live and interactive, so you're more than welcome to chat to us via either the YouTube chat or you can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Manu, shall we head down towards the escarpment? I think so. I think that's where we're going to get lucky. Now, I'm actually really sad because I enjoyed this Pride of Lions. And we were chatting about it yesterday. I haven't seen them for quite some time, so it's nice to start seeing them again. I think they were the first Pride of Lions second Pride of Lions I saw and then spent a bit of time with when I first got to the Mara in August, September. And unfortunately, they like to live around the Ngoriari Rangers post, and there's not really great signal down there. And I was really hoping for Big Cat Week that's coming up. I was hoping they were going to stay this side because I think they could be quite exciting, and because there's so many of them, it'd be really quite spectacular to watch them taking down prey of sorts. So, you know, it's a difficult one. Now those lions could have gone anywhere. What's that? Is that it's a rock, hey? You know exactly what I'm looking at, hey, Manu? Look at that Logosaurus. That, everybody, sorry, that's me switching the car off all that bounciness. That is a Logosaurus. I thought that was maybe a hyena, the part on the left, its head just sticking up above the grass, but as you can see, it is not a hyena. It is just, a weathered tree that was obviously pushed over by elephants, or I would assume it was pushed over by elephants. Let me just have one last scan. Maybe I see a head popping up above the grass. No, nothing just yet. Manu, I hope they didn't turn back and go back on the other side of the lugger. That'll be disastrous, because that means we'll have to change our entire route and have to go back the long way around. Just have a quick look while we're here. They were pretty determined to get something. Okay. Right. Let's carry on. We'll hug this road for a little bit and see if they're about. Maybe they're just having a bit of a rest and are laying down. Woo! Right, now it's a safari. Okay, we're going to keep looking for our lions. Jamie has got the Angama Pride. I wonder if those cute cubs are still trying to climb trees.
They're not anymore. They've actually settled down. So I've left that wonderful shepherd's tree and I've moved across to see what's attracted the attention of this lioness, who made a beeline straight for this clump of bushes in front of her. Beautiful morning. I mean, with the elephants just wandering through, perfect opportunities for an appreciation of the scenery that we see out here. Now, these lions are, we mentioned, hungry. I'm just trying to work out exactly what it is or where they're planning on going. I think in this case something smells nice. To her anyway, not to us. Lions love to roll in something smelly. They often roll in each other's urine. They will roll in leopard urine. They will roll in herbivore dung to help to disguise their very potent scent. So something over there has attracted her attention. It's also, of course, quite a useful hiding place for her. She can go and get... What was that? That was weird. She can go and get the lay of the land without being seen. But I don't know what that funny hop, skip, and a jump was. My first thought was maybe there was a burrow there, but I don't think so. Maybe it was hiding a warthog underground. Here comes another elephant. The Ellies still haven't spotted the lions. Not once. No dramatic chasing scenes yet. Now, Chitty Chatty Meg, you want to know if lions will lift their tails to attention when looking at something. Typically, you'll find when something has attracted their attention, it's only the head posture that you really see. The tail's held lowish and slightly away from the body with a little upward tilt. Obviously, their tails are a very clear mood indicator, but that is in situations where they're angry or upset, that tail starts to thrash. Otherwise, it's quite a well-behaved tail, especially when you compare it to something like a leopard. I'm not quite sure exactly what these lions are going to do. They're still moving through quite slowly. There's lioness over there. She's also spotted something, and she is quite intent. So I think they're just, for the moment, planning out exactly what it is they're going to do and where they're going to go. The whole field, if I could call it that, is just full of lion heads popping out. And that is the clearest indicator of the head being held to attention. We're going to be taking a short break very, very soon, but definitely don't go anywhere. The lions are on the hunt, and who knows what they might find in the interim. Of course, this is entirely imaginary, and it gives us a chance to practice going back into ad breaks for our upcoming TV show, which will be on the 14th of December, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Nat Geo Wild. See, I'm doing an ad break. Row of cars. Where did that lioness go? Oh, there she is. They should, Lou. They should. I should get some extra for advertising. I know, Lou. Lou says she's got my best interests at heart. I know. So, for now the lions have settled. I would like to reposition. What is that lioness looking at? I can't see anything, but she is looking. She keeps looking behind me. Oh, buffalo. There is a very large pole in the way, so you won't be able to see them, but I can see them. There's two massive buffalo bulls off to the left and just behind me. So I think that's what she's looking at. Bit overly ambitious there, girl. I don't think so. I think the most likely option here is going to be the topi. It's just I'm basically talking aloud because I'm trying to plan where I'm going to go. I think I might loop around and we'll just go and enjoy the sighting a little bit more from not directly into the sun. Okay, I'm going to move. Now, Cheetah, you want to know if when lions find something, how do they call the others to join the hunt? Well, typically, when a lion pride goes on a hunting mission, they are all together anyway, or at least usually in twos or threes. If it's a female hunting on her own, she doesn't call for backup. She will choose prey that she knows she can manage, and she won't call for backup or anything like that. But when they're hunting together, it's the body language of the lionesses, and they're constantly looking at each other. You'll see they'll glance in each other's direction. It's the body language of the one lioness that will say, okay guys, I've got something, I see something, I see potential, and they'll zone in and they'll focus. And there's a huge amount of very subtle communication happening between members of a pride when they are hunting, and all geared towards picking a target. And if you watch the way that they hunt, they very clearly zone in on something specific, and their ears are, the direction of their ears, little flicks, the lines of their body, the way that they're holding their heads, all of that will tell the other lionesses what their plans are. Oh, it's so bright. The last few mornings after the stormy nights, the light has just been so white. Okay, we're going to find ourselves a good spot to watch these lions. Let's head back across to Scotty, who is on foot on Djuma. Let's go and find out whether he's found any more elephants.
We haven't found more ellies, but we have found something very, very exciting. Just behind us there's a small riverbed, and within that riverbed we are highly, highly confident that we've found where Tundi's new den site is. And what's fascinating is that it's the old den site that Kruger first used to give birth to Hosanna and Shongile. And isn't that fascinating that a leopard that we knew so well, Kruger and Shongile and Hosanna, who you guys got to know while I was away, were given birth to in the very, very same spot that Tundi's found. Now, what that tells us is that there's obviously not too many good places to give birth to out here. We've got a lot of credit to our friend Herbie here, who led us straight along the trail towards the den site. And what makes us think that she is actually using it, as opposed to have just gone in to investigate a possible home, is that there's a lot of her tracks from before rain, after rain, and some very, very fresh tracks from last night that led us straight to the same point. So the fact that there's a combination of old tracks, slightly old, and very fresh tracks means that she is in all likelihood there. And James and Herbie actually think they heard her a little bit earlier, letting off a low contact call. Ooh, ooh. I didn't hear that though. So what we're going to do, now that we've established where she is, we're going to move out of this area on foot and possibly send in a vehicle later this evening to just confirm that everything is in fact in order. So hugely, hugely exciting prospects for later on, and well done to Herbie for doing a great job following the trail of Tundi. You're off on a short break. Welcome back. Yeah, that's the third time now, so that's my third strike. Louise, I won't make that mistake again. So, welcome back from the ad break, where we're advertising Tundi's new den. And like I said, I think it's going to be best for us to move out of this area now that we've established that she is in the area. We were quite lucky that obviously she was out looking for a meal while we followed those tracks into the den sites. It's always a bit of a risk involved with following tracks of animals that you know have den sites, because of course if you find them they could get a little bit grumpy and protective because they have young cubs that they're obviously going to do anything they need to do to protect. But luck was on our side. She was out, and that allowed us to do the necessary investigatory work with the tracks. So I'm so excited that we can head there this afternoon in a vehicle and just establish exactly what's going on. And the reason why it's important to keep track of where the den sites are is that you can then be a little bit more sensitive in those areas, especially with the vehicles and the guides. If people know where the den is, of course they can act accordingly. If they don't, then they could possibly behave in a detrimental manner, put a few vehicles into a sighting, even if there's maybe lions nearby. Nobody knows that the leopard den is there. That could be an example of how not knowing where the den is can be detrimental. Very, very good. Whew. Hello, Christina. You'd like to know, besides the tracking, what else does Herbie do? Well, he does mainly tracking. That is his fundamental skill, but there's a lot that goes into tracking. It's not simply following the footprints of the animals, but listening, piecing together puzzles. Experience and kind of sixth sense is a huge thing in this industry when it comes to tracking. So he does that, and I'm told, I'm not actually entirely sure exactly what he does, but he also does a little bit of work for Djuma on the side, helping out with tracking and guiding for them. He's both a guide and a tracker. He's a multi-skilled individual. But I've only been here for such a short time, Christine, that I actually haven't got to know Herbie very well, but I certainly am looking forward to getting to know him. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. Now, what we have here is a hole in the ground, and how this hole was made, there was an animal, and it had its head in the hole, and its two front legs were digging out like this. And I'm guessing what it was an aardvark. That's the most likely excavator to create a hole like this. And it would have had an inkling that there were some termites underneath here. That's all I would have dug in to try and create, or kind of create an opening within which it can stick its tongue and gobble up all the termites. Now, it doesn't look very fresh, but if you are lucky enough to come across a fresh aardvark digging, you often get to see their tail in the mound of sand behind it. So that's often a telltale sign of an aardvark, because they use their tail to stabilize while they're digging with their front legs. And you can sometimes even see a mark where the male's testicles creates a bit of an indent in the sand. I'll never forget the first time I saw that track. I was quite astonished. So that's something to bear in mind if you are ever on foot and find an excavation like this in Africa. You can possibly even sex the aardvark that dug it. But this isn't very fresh. It's an animal we don't get to see very often. For those of you that don't know what it looks like, it kind of looks like a pig with very short legs, long nose, and they're predominantly nocturnal, so that's the reason why we don't see them very often. Very good. Well, I'm so excited that we've been able to share that exciting news about Thandi and her possible new den site with you. We're going to continue exploring. I'm not too sure what our game plan is now. We might stop kind of doing a big loop back to camp, and we're going to send you back to Noel, who's still at the den site.
Hello, yes, we're back with the hyenas. So exciting about Thandi's second den site. That's very enthralling. I also hope you enjoyed Scott's testicle talk. How enthralling. So we're busy tracking leopard and audio and bird calls and sounds and this and that, and we ended up back at the hyena den. So we wanted to show you the hyena. She's still doing what she's doing, so I think I am a little bit too far east from where I need to be while tracking this leopard, because if this leopard walked anywhere near this den, she would be inside. So we thought we would just give you a last little look. There's also a flower that I meant to show you earlier, and then I completely forgot. That's just here in front of our bonnet. It's a hibiscus! We get so many different types of hibiscus, but 99% of them are yellow like this. Every now and then you'll get a pink morph. This, as far as I know, and what I've been told and what I've read up, is hibiscus, the word actually means marshmallow in Latin, so it's like the marshmallow flower. It's a very, very beautiful, beautiful flower, and one of the flowers that lasts longer than the other ones during the year. So we'll see hibiscus, the Comelidon bengalensis, the Comelidon africana, which is a yellow version of the bengalensis. It's not a morph, but it looks very similar. Those three flowers, and a lion's eye, which I haven't seen to show you. I've seen, but I haven't found one this morning to show you. Those we'll see for most of the season. Other flowers that pop up, like the baboon's tail that James was showing you yesterday morning, they only flower for sort of a week. Same with those leopard orchids, only about a week or two. All right, well, marshmallow flowers and cute little hyena cubs. Let's carry on tracking this cheeky leopard, who I actually have a feeling is Mvula. Joy from Hong Kong, you're curious to know if anyone's seen the adult hyenas recently. I saw an adult nursing the older cub that night that Steve had Hasana and Tingana together. And then after that, I think maybe one more time. But that's it for me. But I don't check the den every day. I check it a couple times a week. And also it's the time of morning now, and with the heat that's coming on, that those adults will be resting in the shade, or possibly. I heard an adult earlier when we were tracking this leopard, and they were making a call, the woo, that's more high pitched, that to me sounds like they have actually seen a leopard. I'm not a very good imitator, but that's what I would say. Ferg, we have some special little spider friends who have been running around our lens. Sorry guys. Yeah, there they go. We also had some earlier meet today. All right, well, Jamie has a predator to show you now, so let's head on over to that predator while I'm busy trying to find you another predator.
So we do indeed have a predator to show you, but it's amazing how they've disappeared into the long grass. So there they are off on the left. And it's a difficult place to find a good spot to watch them without blocking everybody else's view, which is the main problem at the moment. There are other vehicles on the main road that want to see them, so if I go any closer, then I block them completely, which is very rude and very disrespectful. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep a watch from afar and see what they get up to. For now, though, it seems as though their movement has been halted and they're just enjoying a little bit of time resting in the sun. Michael, the cub development in the Mara compared to that of Djuma, I would say is pretty much the same. And I think the huge factor that is involved in influencing cub development is the amount of food available to them. So obviously during the migration, the Mara cubs have a massive advantage because there's just constant food, which will increase their growth rate. But then, of course, then they have the decline of the hard few months when the wildebeest and the zebra are not around and food is much more scarce. So I think on the whole, you'll probably find that it evens out and there's not much difference. They still are introduced to the pride around the same age. They're introduced to meat at around about the same age. You'll find also that there'll be slight differences in terms of behavior and hunting technique. I mean, the stalk and the chase are essentially the same, but remember just how different these two, or the terrain of the two places actually are. Or the terrain is, sorry. I mean, the lions here have to learn to use the lay of the land rather than the cover of the vegetation, and I think you'll probably find that comes purely from practice and probably instinctively from a very young age. And they climb trees more. Lion cubs in South Africa do climb trees, but out here they're better at it. They do it more often. So I would say otherwise it's pretty much the same. All of those milestones will be essentially the same. But you will find that availability of food will affect the rate of the cub's growth quite tremendously. There can be a vast difference between a cub of 8 to 9 months old that hasn't had much food or has a sort of a normal amount of food, and then a cub that has grown through those sort of gangly stages during the migration, or else in South Africa during the dry season, when food is that much easier and more available. And by the way, yesterday Taylor and I played a game on the Sunset Safari. We had the word of the day, and the word was lackadaisical. And the reason that we did that is apparently because I spoke about the fact that I never check social media or hardly ever do, but apparently the idea was some viewers were giving us a word of the day to sneak into the show. I'm A, stealing that idea, and B, saying we can still do that. I mean, please feel free to continue to do that. But Taylor and I have decided we're going to have, whenever we're on drive together, we're going to have a word of the day. It's not going to be animal related. It's not going to be obvious. It's not going to be something like rain or river or grass or something like that we're allowed to say 3 times in the course of the drive. We'll both say it, and you have to guess what it is. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is how you can guess what it is. I might have said it already, I might not. I'm not sure if Taylor has yet. Somebody did get it yesterday, lackadaisical. But Taylor was struggling to incorporate it naturally into her sighting, because the lions were so active they were being the opposite of what she was meant to be implying. So we'll sneak it in, see if you can guess today's word. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. I'll give you a hint. Today's word is a verb, and I actually haven't used it yet today. It was fun yesterday. We're still ironing out the realities of this game and exactly how it's going to work in practice. And Lou doesn't know what it is this morning. Alice does, but Lou does not. Lou, you can see if you can figure it out as well. I don't think no, I haven't said it yet. Lou's just told me it might be a bit beyond her. She put her t-shirt on inside out this morning. The last exam I ever wrote when I was studying law, my t-shirt was on inside out. It's a good exam as well. Maybe it was good luck. We've all been there. I'm not entirely sure my shirt's on the right way today. TA, technically it is the defining difference between the smaller cat genus and the big cat genus, or one of the differences. The reason that the big cats are linked together, leopards, lions, tigers, those cats, is because they can roar. And that means that because of the structure of their voice box, they cannot purr. But you will hear a sound that sounds very, very similar to purring, and it's a low growling. So it sounds like they're purring with pleasure. It is in fact a sort of a low rumbling growl. It's not a true purr. Cats that can purr, cheetah. And of course the smaller species of cat as well. So they can purr, but they cannot roar. Lions can roar, but they cannot purr. Those are the big differences. And of course it makes sense that in order to create a sound that is 114 decibels and carries over 10 miles at times, it makes sense that the voice box would have to be specially designed. And obviously something has to fall by the wayside, and in that case it's purring. But cheetah can and do purr very enthusiastically. They also chirp and meow and do something called a stutter bark, which is a very strange sound. So quite a wide range of vocalizations. But when you hear a leopard, for example, attempting to seduce a male, that low growling, oh, we're up again. What have we seen? What have we seen? What have we seen? What have we seen? There's a bit more intent now. Oh, Craig, I've done the bad thing. I've put us here. Oh, we're just going to have to go for it. We're going to have to get onto the road. There's a definite feeling of intent now. Change in body language. It's not too bad here, is it? No, it's not too bad. It's just gonna whack the tow bar gently. Oh, goodness. Hold on, Craig. Okay, here we go. We are going to clunk the tow bar. I'm gonna go quite fast. That's not so bad. Not too bad. Not too bad. We survived. Okay, now we're going to play a bit of Rush Hour. Probably not supposed to describe it that way. But we're going to do some leapfrogging with the other vehicles. There's definitely a change in body language here from these lionesses. Whoa, everyone fall into single file. What is she looking at? What has she seen? Morning! Pigs. Okay, we're gonna have a difficult time here. We're gonna have a very difficult time here because there are the vehicles and I don't want to scare the pigs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here. Hold on, Craig. Come on, Keto, come on, Keto, come on, Keto, up we get. Oh no. Well, actually this isn't a bad spot. We're stuck on our diff. I don't want to go and scare those warthogs. Where have they gone? You can see the lionesses change in behavior. I'm going to give it one more try to try and get us up here, but I'm not sure we're going to manage it. Our wheels are going to spin. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. Diff on. We're up. Okay, there's the warthogs over there. And the lions moving intently towards them. The warthogs moving straight towards the lions. Now you can see why I was worried about potentially disturbing them. There we go. Yeah, go, Lou, go. Most